After the prison break, the New York State Inspector General at the time, Catherine Leahy Scott, launched a thorough investigation to highlight systemic failures that she says allowed this escape to happen.
Her 2016 report blames Joyce Mitchell's willful criminal conduct in smuggling escape tools and having sexual relationships with the escapees. It calls veteran corrections officer Gene Palmer's actions, quote, reckless for delivering contraband to the killers and even bypassing metal detectors. But the IG's document says the problems went far beyond Palmer and Mitchell. Investigators found that bed checks on cell blocks were lax, that contractors' tools were left unsecured in the facility. Searches of employees' bags didn't take place at the start of the workday, and inspections of tunnels and cell infrastructure were skipped. NBC5's Jack Thurston spoke with the current head of the watchdog agency that investigates corruption and abuse in state government.
Lucy Lang recalls the help that the murderers received and the sloppy attitude inside of the prison, the perfect storm that made it possible for the killers to make their way toward the manhole.
Everything went right for them until nearly 3 weeks after their escape. It finally went wrong for them.
Or you could say that everything went wrong for the people of New York who had to foot the bill for some $23.5 million in overtime and repair bills for that facility.
That's right, and is why we must commit to making sure that that never happens again, and that the department is following rigorously its commitment to conducting security checks, to prohibiting unauthorized relationships, and to making sure that contraband isn't brought into facilities. More than half of our nearly 6,000 complaints that we receive annually alleging corruption and fraud in state government are related to the Department of Corrections. So it was clear that we needed to direct significant resources, and we take seriously every allegation and follow it to its logical conclusion. So as Inspector General, I have visited every single one of New York State's prisons. I've met with the staff, the administration, the incarcerated folks at those prisons, and I have staff on the ground visiting prisons regularly to follow up on complaints, to do spot checks, to communicate with staff, and to do all we can to identify gaps before they result in any kind of breach of any kind, much less of the scale that we saw with the Clinton escape.
A phrase that comes up repeatedly in your predecessor's report is that Clinton Correctional suffered from a culture of carelessness. What is the culture today?
With respect to the culture of carelessness, we want to encourage the department and all law enforcement to be mindful of internal controls, to make sure that they're following protocols like not filling out check sheets suggesting they have checked every bed when they haven't yet checked every bed, but also to do it in a way that treats the residents with dignity. It can be very hard, even with extreme vigilance, to determine if every single thing is being followed to a T. I am confident that there are people on the ground at the prisons who are working to follow all of those protocols, and that they have become much more rigorous in committing to consistency across facilities in following the recommendations made by the report.
Speak directly to the people of the North Country. How confident should people here be in the safety of the facilities that are located quite literally in their backyards?
First, I want to thank the people of the North Country for all the work that they did to support law enforcement efforts at the time of this manhunt. With respect to confidence, we are hopeful that the recommendations made in this report have been taken very much to heart, and that over the decade since that terrifying escape, that massive changes have been made, and that the facilities in the North Country are doing all they can to prevent this kind of catastrophe from occurring again.